You saw the thumbnail. You already know who we're yapping about today. For those who don't know, Shin is one of the strongest characters in the game. If you haven't seen the Shin guide yet, I recommend it. It's mostly 16 minutes of me just like unable to comprehend just how powerful Shin is and just how insane this character is. Like, she's 6 sinners in one character. She steals so many jobs from so many people, and all the people that she steals the jobs from were like the best sinners in the game. So you took like 6 of the best sinners in the game and you rolled it up into one character who outperforms everybody in their individual roles, even though she's sharing the same roles as 5 other sinners. Crazy. So I recommend you go watch the guide. And also, if you haven't, to help keep you up with the meta and everything that's going on, I also recommend that you check out the tier list video that I had. That goes into more detail about why Shin is such a crazy sinner. But if you haven't watched any of that, then I also have some, you already have some news of what we're talking about today if you watch the Future of Path Nowhere video. It goes up to February, and guess what? We're almost in February. I'm about to have to make a new one of those videos for the next 3 months. But anyways, coming very soon, is the Shin banner. So up next, actually, shortly before, I think Irea's banner is still up when Shin comes out, like next week. That's crazy. Shin is having a rerun. And if you don't have Shin already, this is the easiest pickup in the world. Everybody, and I mean everybody, should have an S1 Shin. You can, S0 and S1 are the same power, but S1 just gives her better quality of life, makes her way more comfy, way more like passive. And you can kind of just, do what you want to do. You don't have to think too hard. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You can just sort of sit back and enjoy yourself. So while that first copy, that I guess the second pull of Shin isn't adding any extra damage or any isn't making your team stronger, it is just making it easier. And honestly, I'm so spoiled by S1 Shin. I use her in literally every team. S1 Shin is best in slot on literally every team in the game. So just grab yourself an S1 Shin. Shin's OP. This is, I can't reiterate it enough. If you guys somehow miss the S1 Shin banner, she will be in the certificate shop for the guarantee if you have the 250 whatever credits. Absolutely worth picking up a Shin. You absolutely should. And then if you guys have Bianca, this is an if you have Bianca. If you don't have Bianca, then ignore this. If you have Bianca, Margaret is also coming out in 3 weeks. And Margaret is bringing Weak Spot back into the prime of the meta. So you, unfortunately, again, you need Bianca ahead of time. There's no Bianca banners. There's no Bianca reruns. This is just like a raw Margaret drop with no other weak spot support coming in. And Margaret can work out of weak spots, but I mean, she's on the weak spot team, so I highly recommend you run her in weak spot. So again, if you have Bianca, Margaret's the perfect pairing, and you should build both of those characters immediately. If you already have Bianca. If you don't have Bianca, then Bianca, there's no news on any Bianca reruns, and you're just gonna have to get lucky down the line. Sorry, that's how it is. And for those of you who don't like Shin and absolutely hate Margaret for whatever reason, we also have some fan favorites coming out, and I would be remiss to, at the same time Margaret comes out, we've got a whole host of other things also coming out in about 3 weeks. It's the Rust Zoya combo. So for those who don't know, Zoya is getting a Reforge. And Reforge Zoya is bringing in a whole new mechanic, a whole new Potesta called Overlimit. And that Overlimit mechanic is going to be used by Legion sinners from the Legion in the lore, including Zoya and Rust. Rust is part of the Legion. We've seen him on and off throughout the story. He's always been like a hooded, masked by his hat character in the 9th Agency. Well, it turns out Rust is part of the Legion, and he's one of Zoya's lieutenants or whatever. And that Rust is going to act as the battery for Zoya. So Zoya is relying on the overlimit mechanic. Rust is generating your overlimits. So it's like a combo piece. Now, frankly, I don't know how strong Reforged Zoya is going to be. I've read a lot of mixed reviews, where the CN community were like fighting each other over this character's amazing, this character's awful. I couldn't tell you. I watched a lot of gameplay, and it looks good to me, but until I get Reforged Zoya into my hands, I'm not going to make any like bold statements one way or the other. All I know is that like Shin's OP. I've read a lot of good things about Margaret. I've seen a lot of good things with Margaret, and I've seen a lot of mixed news when it comes to Zoya. So this is really like everybody should get Shin. If you have Bianca, you should get Margaret. And if you want to try out the Reforged Zoya setup, I would advise that you wait like a week on the Zoya Rust stuff. Wait until you see some like footage, some reviews, some guides on Reforged Zoya, so that you know if you want to invest in Reforged Zoya or not. That'd be my recommendation. Wait 1 week. Again, this banner is going to be up for like a month. So you guys can wait 1 of 4 weeks to like get actual good feedback on like how good Zoya is, what her playstyle is like, and all of that nonsense. And you guys can make a more informed decision then. But highly recommend everybody get at least S1 Shin next week. And if you already have Bianca, grab yourself a Margaret. If you want to go crazy, if you want to have the strongest center in the game who will never, ever be replaced, and you like, let's say, again, I'm not saying that you have to do this, okay? That you S1 Shin as 0 Shin is more than enough. But for my characters who really do just like want to play to the meta and like want to have the strongest options and not really think twice, S3 Shin is like the most game-breaking thing you've ever seen in the game. So for those players who care about meta strength and gameplay power, consider an S3 Shin as well. But be careful. Okay, I've hyped up these banners a lot, but I'm going to drop the be careful here, because directly after these banners, we are getting 2 back-to-back limited banners. We're getting 1 limited banner because of a collab event with, I believe it's called Cat's Eye. It's a very old anime from like the 1980s. It's got like itself a reboot, and it's teaming up with Path of Nowhere to help advertise the reboot. Really cool style. I'm excited for Cat's Eye. I don't think it's going to be the strongest in terms of combat, but I could be wrong. But thematically, I think it fits the Path of Nowhere universe very well. And we'll get more into the Cat's Eye stuff when that stuff comes to live servers. I don't want to jump the gun because we haven't even like discussed Reforged Zoya on the channel that much yet, or the new weak spot. So there's a lot to explore between then and now, but I am excited for that collab. And then after the collab, we have the regular anniversary, the half-year anniversary, the Chinese New Year, with a new burn center and the next set of reforges. So we're in busy season. We've got a lot of really cool banners coming out. We've sort of been trudging through the mud with all this Orm Segretum nonsense that we've been dealing with. And I do say that derogatorily towards Orm Segretum. I'm sorry, the team is bad. But we have a really dense pack of banners upcoming, and this is like a really good time to get into Path Nowhere, start spinning your pools, or anything else. So you should be pulling on these banners, especially the Shin banner. Again, if you guys haven't already, watch the Shin guide. It's 16 minutes of me just losing my mind. That's really what it is. There's no thought process or anything. It's just me losing my mind. And also, if you guys want more in-depth thoughts about how strong these characters are in relation to each other, I do have the larger tier list video. It doesn't cover any of the new centers, but it gives some preliminary thoughts on them if you guys want to know more details. And we'll have another one of these future videos coming out soon. All right. Catch you guys next time. Peace.